Morning, ladies and gents. Welcome to Crypto Chat UK. Quickly, I want to apologise. I might be looking a little bit rough. I've only been up 20-30 minutes. Don't normally stay in bed that late. But anyway, I've got my coffee. Hopefully, I've got some good things to say to you today and discuss. We've had a crazy 24-48 hours in the crypto markets. Of course, we have been pretty poor. But to be honest, 2018, generally we've had some growth, we've had some drops, we've had some lulls. Been a pretty poor year compared to 2017 to a degree. We're probably still at around early November's price from last year, so it's basically we're back to November 2017 at the moment. But anyway, let's have a quick look at the markets where I've had some gains, and I want to go through a few things, what people are saying, and just briefly go through some positives as well. So yeah, if you're looking at 206 billion, it went down to about 190 billion, I think, yesterday. I kind of thought it was the bottom, but was anticipating maybe further drops, but there we go. People knew it had been oversold. I said yesterday, definitely oversold. And look at it now, we've got some growth, and hopefully it continues. We'll get the usual drops, of course, but Bitcoin up to $6,400. Ethereum's grown by $20 or $30, I think, each now. If you look down, it's pretty much all greens. We've got some 20%ers there, like Qtum, which I'm involved in. We should have bought some more stuff yesterday than did. Kind of missed out a little bit. Just time, that's it, But if you look down, yeah, we've had several 20%ers, like Pundi X, Nano. I'm not really into Pundi X. Did want to get into Nano, never did. Wish I hadn't done. I think could have gotten it 20 odd or 30 odd cents last year. Anyway, there we go. So we're looking pretty good. I always like the top page. We won't look at that too much, but if you want to have a look, don't forget to go to coinmarketcap.com. Bitcoin dominance at 53.5%. I think it went over 54, maybe 54.5 or more at some point, but obviously the altcoins have grown as well, so taking a bit of the market back. Only a little bit, but there you go. Always nice to see Bitcoin's dominance over that 50% mark. Whether that'll stay in the future, who knows? Anyway, let's get moving and have a look at some of the stuff what people are saying. Blockonomy, they mention price crash. What is happening with the cryptocurrency market? Obviously, this was talking about what's just happened. Yesterday was a dark day for cryptocurrencies as the total market cap continued to fall. It says continues. It's obviously growing again now. Entities like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Ripple, they've experienced their lowest points of the year, and it's unclear where the bulls will enter the fray. Like I said before, I don't believe we need the bulls. We just need continuous, improvements in the technology, improvements in user friendliness and apps and other things that can make it easy, and also commercially offering the ability to pay with cryptocurrencies as well. And then adoption rates will follow. So we just need stuff like that. Yeah, great when the bulls arrive, great when these investment strategies arrive, works well, can be good, but what we need is solid growth, and that comes from normal adoption and ease of use, of course. That's my opinion on it anyway. Don't forget, I'm not a financial advisor, so this is just from my own research and my own thoughts. So make your own decision on it, of course. But that's my opinion. It's got a good future, and that's what needs to happen. So cryptocurrency has been the object of mixed reactions over the past year since late 2016, when Bitcoin first hit the $1,000 mark. It's been clear that there was something special about its new form of technology. Investors saw crypto as a unique and intriguing way to diversify their portfolios and avoid some of the scares of traditional stocks and bonds. Bitcoin was jumping through the roof at the time. Obviously, we know it went up to near $20,000. Only briefly, it touched 20,000, was hanging around 19 and 17. Traders saw the bait and took it. Yeah, this is where people got FOMO, you see. Something strange began to occur. Crypto began a sudden and rapid descent into nothingness. Now, they say cryptocurrency began a sudden, rapid descent into nothingness. Something strange occurred. Come on. It's not strange for any market to drop, and it's also not strange for something that's had that kind of substantial growth to drop suddenly. It was over the top. Let me just close this curtain, it's a bit too bright there. It was over the top and too much. Too fast. We all knew that. We all knew it was going to be a drop. Nobody thought that it was going to drop so far, like 600 billion or so. Got knocked off the market very quickly in January, January-ish time. Yeah, we expect to drop because we all believe that adoption rates were going up, and it was normal adoption, as well as some people FOMOing. But what can you do if people don't understand the market and don't understand the history of it and the future of it? Then you are going to get these problems, of course you are. At the moment, Bitcoin is trading at just over 6,000, which is an improvement over early hours yesterday, I believe that's talking about. So if you look at it, what the heck is going on? There's been many explanations that have come and gone regarding what's occurred. Some has believed that the hype and hoopla surrounding Bitcoin was short-lived simply because people lost interest. Yeah, they lost interest because people pulled out. They got scared, more than likely. I mean, there was some manipulation in the market for sure last year. That's going to happen when you've got big investors who've got a bigger percentage of the market rather than the mass have got a bit more control. So, it's usual to any market, I guess. But as they say here, Bitcoin is still a birthday technology, and while it's growing every day, it doesn't have the mainstream acceptance of credit cards or cash. People realise that this currency isn't used or accepted like other forms of money. That's what I was saying before about it needs to be adopted. They do talk about deceitful practice behind Bitcoin's problems. There's a lot of stuff to do with ICOs and other stuff where there's people jumping on it and finding an opportunity to try and rip people off. Of course, that's happening. Okay. So let's have a look at this quickly. Co-founder Joseph Lubin, crypto price collapse will not constrain further growth. So quickly have a look at this. Joseph Lubin said in an interview with Bloomberg that he does not see the recent cryptocurrency collapse as a constraint to further growth. In a recent discussion on the state of the cryptocurrency market, Lubin said that value surges of the past year were just another bubble like previous. 6 bubbles, each more epic than the previous one. And each bubble is astonishing when they're happening. He added that on close scrutiny, those peaks look like pimples on a chart. Lubin said that each bubble, such as the current one, has brought a significant burst of activity. He stated, "We build more fundamental infrastructure, we see a correction, and the potential gets even more impressive." And that is what's happening. I mean, just to interject here, there is the fundamentals and the stuff that's being worked on and being brought out over time. This should make it easier, more user-friendly, a little bit more attractive, but also easier to adopt and simpler. So, and this is what we need, user-friendliness. You can't have it as complicated as some parts of this is. Otherwise, it's just simply an investment and there is no use cases. So we need to increase that. The technology is ahead of the actual infrastructure at the moment. So the infrastructure needs to catch up. That's what I think. It needs to catch up. So I actually expect that there is a strong correlation between the rise in growth of the growth of fundamental structure in the ecosystem and the growth of development in the ecosystem. We are probably 2 orders of magnitude bigger as a developed community than we were 8 or 10 months ago. So yeah, it is growing and the development is growing. Of course, there's a lot more that he says in there if you ever want to have a look at it. If we look at price, we are looking. There's this investment strategist. She says price is an imperfect metric of Bitcoin technology. I have heard this before. I have looked at some of these things before. She's not the first one to say it, but she's definitely right, I think. So Bitcoin continues to decline. I mean, obviously it's not now. We're back in the growth side now. This was put on yesterday. An investment strategy sees it as a paradigm-shifting technology that needs time to appreciate in value. Bitcoin marks another day trading in red, this was yesterday, of the entire market performing even worse. At the time of writing this, of course. All top 100 digital currencies are depreciated according to CoinMarket. That's what happened yesterday. It's back in the positive again. So, according to Chief Strategy Officer at digital asset management company CoinShares, Bitcoin is a fairly new technology and it would take time for people to understand it. Of course, loads of people don't understand it yet. New technologies that shift the paradigm take a long time to really understand. She also noted that there are no appropriate metrics to keep track of technology performance apart from the price. The narrative around Bitcoin is still really hard to grasp, she says. Really, the only metric we have for most cryptocurrencies at the moment is the price. And price is such an imperfect metric. What does actual utilization look like? That's the real struggle for crypto right now. And this is what we're talking about. Getting commercial companies on, accepting payments. There is a lot of companies out there that accept payments through Bitcoin and other cryptos, but we need to work on it and get it accessible to everybody and get education out there so they learn that it is a real product and real technology, not just a flash in the pan. We're starting to see real traction. A lot of it is really dependent on finding those data points, those metrics that are going to drive the growth story. She says a lot more about ignoring the price and so forth, which she's right. It's like if you invested in, just chill. Okay, investor. This is a quick one about investor in, I think it's Abu Dhabi. I mean, if you want to look at this, have a good read of it. But basically, He took out a $100,000 loan or a $100,000 loan, which they give fairly easy, and he says that he's lost 85%. In my opinion, he hasn't. He's got 3 years on the loan. As much as we all say, don't put in more than you can afford, I have mentioned in the video that, like any business, if you are sure of it, or as sure as you can be with any business or investment, business or investment as well, don't forget, you do look for funding, whether it be loans, credit cards, investors, etc., etc., and you have to pay that back with interest. You can work on the lowest interest you can. So he's paying back quite a considerable amount of money per month. I hope he carries on to do so. I'd be interested to see where he's in 3 years. He believes he lost 85% and wants people to learn from his mistake. And now, if he's invested in the right stuff, he has said several invested, including Neo and other items, and probably Bitcoin and Stellar, and I think Stellar's awesome, so I think that could really do well. I think that and XRP, absolutely phenomenal. So if he has invested correctly, I can't see, personally, this is my personal opinion, 3 years' time, he's going to be in a negative. If he pays off that loan, if he can manage, yes, struggle a little bit for the 3 years, I think in 3 years' time, that's going to be worth a fortune. So it'd be really interesting to see, people, if anybody remembers this in 3 years' time, we're really interested to see where his investment could be or should be in 3 years' time. Hopefully he sticks with it and realises that the 85% isn't really lost. He probably went in at the wrong time, of course, didn't wait for a big drop, but at the end of the day, I think if he holds out, he's probably going to do really well. Okay, a quick brief one. This one, which is from bitcoinist.com, they talk about 5 ICOs exit scams cost investors $100 million. Now, these are not the only ones. ICOs can be great, and if you really, really do look at it, have a read of this anyway. It tells you some of the stuff you should spot, I think, further down, and it tells you about them. Now, bad people who want to rip people off, they're going to jump on any opportunity, and this was one of them. Something that didn't have regulation and still doesn't. It's being worked on, I think, for ICOs. I've always said be careful of ICOs. I've not got involved in ICOs, but there is a lot of people trying to rip you off. I'm not saying don't invest in ICOs. If you're very careful and you have a look at them, there's no reason not to go for them. But just be very, very careful, people. Don't just jump on anything. Don't just jump on something your friend says. Go and have a look at it. Do a lot of research first, okay? There is some red flags when it comes to ICOs and any other investment, which will tell you to stay away, okay? Another one here is from time.com. Briefly, cryptocurrency will replace national currencies by 2030. It's what Thomas Frey said. So cryptocurrency is very much here to stay, said futurist and author Thomas Frey, noting that he's speaking to the Federal Reserve in September on the topic. He predicts that cryptocurrencies are going to displace roughly 25% of national currencies by 2030. They're just much more efficient the way they run. Now, he might be right. I'm not so sure. But I'm sure it'll have a huge, huge impact on financial markets and countries and the way we do things. Of course it will, as more gets adopted commercially, politically, and domestically. I mean, this is what's going to happen, in my opinion. And I think this is why a lot of us, including myself, have a lot of faith in the market and can see where it's going to head. Okay, we can definitely see where this is going to head. So, have a look at this, what people say. Have a look at some of these, what I've just mentioned. Have a look at other stuff, what people say. But also do research. If you're new to the game or newish or you're worried, go and have a really good research. But look at the market on a whole. Don't look at what's just happening in a short period of time, 1 week, 1 month, 1 year. Have a look at it on a whole, and think about what it's going to be 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 years, and 5 years. Okay, think about it. Now, we're not going to have the similar thing as 2017, of course not. We want more solid growth. We need more adoption in a more solid way. And that's what will come when the technology, gets further. The functionality gets better and gets improved by what is being produced currently. Quickly, something on lighter note, which I'm really impressed with. Crowdfunding campaign aims to discover where in the world real Satoshi is. So, quickly, briefly, they are getting some funding, hiring some private eyes to have a really good look, and they've got to prove what they're doing, and they're going to try and find who and where the real Satoshi is. Really interesting to see that. Now, guys, I've got to get to my normal job. I'm going to have some more of my coffee. If you liked the video, hit the like button. If you didn't, hit the dislike button if you didn't like it. But don't forget, I'm going to put some more content on very soon, hopefully some good stuff. I am a YouTuber as well, so I could do with all the help I can get. So if you can, hit the subscribe button. That'd be really appreciated. And I hope to offer you some more great info very soon. Speak to you soon, guys.